good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you all for coming out to Startup.SC and our 1 Million Cups event, Grand Strand. My name is Amanda Curl, and I'm one of the organizers for 1 Million Cups Grand Strand. Graham Ladd, standing in front of me videoing, he is the other organizer. Maria Uriman and Jason Green, they're also organizers, but they're not able to make it this morning. Today we have two presenters. We have GammaGrip and FieldVine. They're two local entrepreneurs from our community that will be presenting about their company for 6 minutes each, followed by a 20-minute question-answer session from you guys. There's free coffee in the room. Please feel free to help yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Will Ranke. I am the president and owner of GammaGrip.
And my name is Ahmed Aboudas. I'm the co-founder and lead chemical engineer for GammaGrip.
So, a little bit about GammaGrip. Everyone's probably wondering, what is that? You know, the biggest thing is, that's the whole point of what that name GammaGrip is. We're going into multiple markets. What we've developed is a natural and organic hand-drying agent that aids in gripping. From everything from lifting weights, shooting guns, any type of sporting activity. It's keeping your hands dry and providing an amazing grip. So a couple little points. We are trademarked, in the process of getting trademarked, and that is our mark from GammaGrip. The biggest thing is, I'm a gym owner. So when people brought in chalk, wonderful thing, but it left the residue behind. So I knew, as a gym owner, people wanted to have a great grip, and they wanted to have something to come in there and go, hey, how can we secure our grip and get a great workout, but not leaving you angry? Well, chalk left it everywhere, and did a little research and realized there was a lot of options out there. And that's where GammaGrip actually came from. I'm going to go into the formulation.
Yeah, so as Will was saying, you know, the whole idea behind it was to keep the gym kind of more neat and tidy. And so he came to me and said, hey, you know, I have this idea, what do you think? Had sort of a, you know, there was a competitive market for it. He had a couple of other products. He said, hey, try this, what do you think? Do you think we could do something like this, but sort of keep it, you know, without using all these harsh chemicals in it, you know, had things in it like benzene or butane, you know, all these other chemicals that most people really wouldn't want to put near them if they knew what they would actually do to their skin or their body, things like that. So he came to me, and actually I remember we met at King Street Grill the very first time, and I was like, who is this guy, and what does he want with me, this lanky scientist-looking guy, you know? So anyway, so I said, what does he want with me, and he starts talking to me, he's like, here, give this a try, and I was just amazed by what, you know, the possibility was. And that was kind of how we got together, and, you know, sort of what the idea behind the formula for it was. So we wanted to put together, you know, the same type of idea, give the same effect as the chalk without, you know, the residue, without anything on your hands that would be long-lasting. It would work for hours at a time so that you wouldn't have to reapply and all that. So anyway, we spent many hours in our laboratory. Yeah, our laboratory. I'm sure people thought we were cooking meth or something, especially here. Yeah, especially here in South Carolina. Anyway, so, you know, we spent many hours, lots of Bunsen burners, broken.
Many arguments, not understanding the language he was telling me, and I was trying to go back to 8th grade chemistry, understanding the word he was saying to me.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, okay, do it, mix it. Where is it? Why is it not working?
Pretty much, yeah. So anyway, we finally kind of stumbled into it, honestly. You know, after many, many different attempts and formulations and tries, we just said, you know what, we don't know if this is going to work, and then poof, all of a sudden it just kind of happened. You know, one day I was just tinkering, literally just throwing some things together, and it just happened to be great. Yeah, so that's kind of where we came up with it. And then we sort of went from there and, you know, did some patent applying, and we did some product testing as well in the field, real time, you know, used in the gym, got some real positive feedback, and even a small little clinical trial in that sense, just sort of to, you know, analyze versus the competition.
Which then gets us into our industries. This is one of the best parts about GammaGrip. It's not just in the fitness industry. We can hit so many marketplaces with this product that it's truly endless. And we have golf, tennis, baseball, basketball, football. The biggest thing is when you look into football, baseball, basketball, it's not sticky. So by all guidelines, we are completely approved. Not only does it work on your hands, but it also works on your feet. So that's opening up an entire new avenue for runners, outdoorsmen, military applications. So you look at something that you could potentially put on your feet to reduce sweat, which then would reduce the cause of blisters. So with endless possibilities, our product can be placed into multiple marketplaces with lots of volume.
It was kind of interesting. At first it was really just about the fitness. That was kind of where our focus was. And as we developed it, as we were thinking about the possible applications, that's where all of this came up. And our primary industry, I think, at this point in time would be the gun industry and shooting as competitive shooting, since there aren't too many competitors in that market currently.
And I'm a competitive shooter, and our marketing manager is also a sponsored 3-gun shooter. So we have a great in with that market. Sales channels, direct sales, obviously just going to sell it. That's the fun part. E-commerce, we're going to be huge online presence. Retail, big margins for us. Then once we obviously start going into white label partnerships, social media, gotta love the expos. Cost per unit. This is where the key is right here for us. I mean, we're looking at 47 cents for a 2-ounce bottle. Our retail is $9.99. I mean, those are amazing margins. So what we can do as far as marketing and advertising, in our eyes, we look at that as a really good value for that. 2.5 ounce, 37 cents. These are really our giveaways. But they are going to be possible for sale. You can essentially set it up into a shooting range. Someone wants to have it temporary, a gym, right at the front counter, 1 or 2 uses, multiple applications for that. And then obviously our white label, we're going to do the same thing as wholesale, but then you can put your company on there, Joe's Gym or Tim's Sporting Store. It doesn't matter. So the option is there to give our product to others and let them take advantage of that.
And these costs are, minus labor costs. These are just, cost of the product to actually fill the bottle itself, the label, the cap, so everything to actually produce the bottle minus the labor.
Then kind of a breakdown by sales by avenue and our current status. We are bottling 5,000 units as we speak. We are still working out of our laboratory garage potentially, and that's essentially where we're at. And our website's being built as we speak with social media background.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for giving us the time and the opportunity to speak to you about GammaGrip, and we look forward to any questions you guys have.
So how much do you have to apply to your hands if you're weightlifting?
A dime-sized amount.
It's about, think of it as like basically hand sanitizer. That's really what it's the consistency of and how much you would apply on your hands. So the same type of thing, and what's neat is it sort of has that double ability, not what I'm looking for here, but anyway, it has, you can use it as a antibacterial agent as well.
Yes,
So
which was a huge benefit for gyms too, which leads into one of our major markets as far as application is concerned. If you go into hospitals or gyms or any type of facility, they have automatic hand sanitizer dispensers. Well, with GammaGrip, the consistency is almost the same. So we can actually sell GammaGrip in a bag. So it's costing down, it's taking out the bottle cost for us. And 2, we're selling it in mass, so they can just literally put their hand under it. So like Ahmed just said, you're getting a gripping agent, but you're also getting a antibacterial. So as a gym owner or someone in a sporting good industry, whatever you're grabbing, you're actually keeping it clean for the most part and aiding in grip.
From the sales and pitch point of view, I would say that there should go hand in hand those 2 topics.
Oh,
if
definitely.
you wait until now and didn't mention it, that's actually a huge benefit here.
Huge selling point.
Right.
Yeah, part of the formulation, and it's just coincidental that was how it worked out.
Right.
What's its longevity?
Duration on hand, like use, it all depends on the activity you're doing. But typically from our studies, we're looking from an hour and a half to 3 hours of use with reapplication after that. And the benefit is it's organic and natural, so there is no, as far as you can continue to use it with no effect.
Yes, sir.
When you don't want the grip anymore, how do you get rid of it?
Soap and water.
It just comes off clean with soap and water.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are there any medical effects for long-term use of this product? Or,
That's a tough question to answer.
Right.
based on the ingredients and what's in it, I would say no. Just knowing what I know about things that are in things that we consume every day. But again, that's a tricky thing without a multiple year-long study type thing.
And my second question is, have you been able to determine whether competitive sports such as the NFL would advance to this product because of having an advantage over someone who doesn't use it?
Well, that's one of the biggest benefits of having competitors. There are competitors in this marketplace, and they are actually fully cleared with their product to be used in the NFL, NBA,
All major league
major,
MLB.
sporting, because it is not providing a tack or a stick. That is the biggest key feature there. When you have it on your hands, you actually really don't even realize you have it on your hands. So there's no added benefit to a baseball player putting it on like as tar would put on, or a football player would rub a little, tar underneath his I don't know, glove or something like that. And baseball players, same principle. What we're doing is we're reducing the amount of moisture that's in between your skin and the item that you're gripping. So there's not that slippery effect. So by those standards, it is approved.
So, okay, you said a dime-sized amount.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any kind of concept of how many uses per ounce, something like that?
The 2-ounce bottle from a dime size with no reapplication, we're looking around 45 to 50 uses because no one's actually going to get a dime size. So, you kind of give and take. Our half ounce, which was truly a quarter ounce, but we had to change that due to the bottle application. You couldn't squeeze that bottle. But you're looking at 3 to 4 times. Now, there's no way of actually, and the reason why we're saying that is there's no way of actually getting out that entire half ounce, and there's no way of actually getting out that entire 2 ounces of that product. So, good.
Can you speak to the issue of patent protection and competition?
So we filed for the patent, the utility patent.
Yes. Well, we filed for the provision to the utility patent.
Sounds like a bunch of red tape.
Yeah,
but anyway, so that's basically our formulation. That was something that we really specifically tried to do, was steer clear of, and it was actually took a lot of research and understanding about these other competitors and analysis of what they're doing and how they're doing it. And we steered clear of all of their formulations intentionally. We tried to stay as far away from what they were doing for that exact purpose, so that we could very easily get a patent for it, so that it wouldn't be an issue in that sense that we, it is truly something that we came up with and formulated ourselves.
And the biggest aspect there was our key words, organic and natural. All our competitors, we, on the marketplace, for this particular application, we are the only organic and natural company. And that's due to our one main ingredient. That is where our patent pending or utility patent from lawyers and all the money we spent on that, there should be no issues or no infringements.
How many competitors do you have?
There's a lot of them, actually.
Right now, to date, there's 9 to 10. And then the thing is, too, you look into other, there's like a goop. But we have to consider it in the same space, but it's not the same product. So there are a lot of things in the space, but they're not actually used for what we're using it for, but we're considering it in that same space of use. So
how do you intend to differentiate yourself from all these competitors?
Well,
marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing, natural, organic, very aggressive sales position. We're going to take the same motto as Under Armour, for example. Nike, Reebok has been sitting in a wonderful space for years. And Under Armour just kind of came in and said, no, this is our house. This is what we're doing. And by no means am I comparing our company to Under Armour by any which way. But I'm using that proven aggressiveness in sales tactics and marketing to dominate the space. Yes, we're a very, very small company. Absolutely. I mean, we're minuscule. But no one knows that. Our appearance to the company that we give can be anything. We could be $1 billion corporation. No one knows that. It's how we present ourselves to the community and to our marketplace.
That's Will's way of saying, take it till you make it.
Absolutely.
But, no.
And it's due to our money spent is very important on marketing and pictures, very, very, very high-end pictures, very, very high-end videos. Those are the things that are going to get your video audience. Because remember, our demographics are athletes, for right now, shooters. We want to captivate them. We need that eye to go, whoa. And that's why when you open up GammaGrip, put in your hand, we actually have a peppermint smell. So when you smell it, and I apologize, we were supposed to bring a whole bunch for you guys.
We have some.
We do have a little bit in the car, so we can bring some into you guys later. But when you put it on, that peppermint enlightens you. It opens up the nostrils. It's telling you, hey, I'm ready to go do an action sport or anything. And what the best part is, that's our marketplace that we want right now. And that's what we're really, really going to concentrate on hard. But our long term is
The medical industry?
medical industry.
Yeah, long term, but
And military.
but yeah, too. And also speaking to some of what Will said there, the competitors, their marketing is not so good.
Right.
So if you check that out, it's not very, it's dated, it's not hip, if you want to say that. And that I feel like or I know that, not even feel like, I know that the audience we're trying to capture are those people in that age range from 18 to 40, the people who are out there being active now, being fit is a cool thing, that's, being a gym member is not like it was in the 80s or whatever, whatever it was, it's now the thing to do. Everyone's health conscious, and so that's the audience we're trying to capture, that young, hip, health conscious crowd, and that's where they sort of fail, our competitors do.
How do you see yourselves marketing, though? Yourselves, or using a distributor? How do you,
A lot of it.
Well, so, I mean, how are we getting it out to the public, as you're saying? Social media. Social media.
I'm talking about, you're talking about the NFL and some of these others. You're not going to run off social media. I mean, you're going to go see.
Oh, okay, getting to the next step. Well, that's where our levels of marketing comes in. So essentially how we had it set up was social media, e-commerce, build up a little reputation, build up a great following, because in order for someone to actually look at us, no matter what we say, we have to have proof of concept. So if an Instagram account has 1 million followers, well, we can go to the NFL. We have proof of concept. Yes, it's still imaginary, but in this world, 1 million of anything is very, very valuable. It means a lot. So if our Facebook site is filled, Twitter, Periscope, all these marketing aspects, because believe it or not, NFL uses it. All major companies use these. So if we can go to them showing that we are in the highest level of this aspect, we're going to have a lot more respect.
Yeah,
and we can get that. We can actually accumulate that with our knowledge and who we know.
Yeah, our strong social media presence gives us our credibility, essentially.
But you want to do it yourself. You don't want to hire somebody to do that for you, right?
Well, we do have somebody doing
we have
our social
we have
media,
someone doing
that social media and aspect of it.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you've done a lot of investigation with regards to your competitors.
Yes.
The first top 2 competitors that you've looked at, what are their sales?
What are their sales?
What are their sales?
That is one of the.
That's actually a really hard thing to
That's
find
a
out.
very hard thing to find out.
Gross sales for the top competitor from
Mueller's.
Yeah, it was Mueller's, and the estimates we found were anywhere from 4 to 6 million a year.
Right. And that's very skewed because Mueller's makes multiple products.
It was very hard.
So how do we determine that particular product in their space? So with companies like this, it's really not. The only one I know for certain is bodybuilding makes it. It's called liquid chalk. Completely different concept. All it is chalk. It's just in a liquid form. So once you put it in your hand, you still have chalk in your hand. It makes a mess. But point being, I know the owner. I know someone that worked for the owner of the company. I think 2 years ago they netted. Oh my God, that was a ridiculous number. And that was just from bodybuilding alone, or bodybuilding.com. It was over $6-7 million. They had international sales. It's the same concept, but totally different product.
So what is your business plan project once you get fully operational?
Projections. I mean, that's the biggest thing is that growth at 1, 3, 6. Within the first year, we set a goal of inventory of 5,000 units. 5,000 units yields us $36,000 per there. So we were looking at grossing approximately $150,000 to $200,000 for the first fiscal year.
What is the shelf life of your product?
Pretty much, as long as it's kept in a decent environment, it'll just just like a hand sanitizer kind of thing, it'll last for quite some time. It's not very limited in that sense. If you leave it open, it loses some of its effectiveness. Actually kind of tested that a little bit, left it in the car kind of thing in a hot environment, and it still is pretty effective. It does, if you leave it in a really warm environment, it tends to lose some of its ability, but it still works. It's just not as well.
Oh, that's a great point. So you're in a gym, it's hot and sweaty. So you don't have to answer, just two inputs. Number one, the FDA approval was on the slide, but you didn't mention it. I mean, if you got approval, I'm sure that was a experience.
Are you approved just because of the GRAS, generally recognized as safe?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
All right,
Yes.
so okay, so I was just going to say, if that was a big deal, then mention it. It's part of a differentiator. Now, don't answer. You don't need to answer because she said we got 2 minutes. And then the next thing is have you taken it to gun shooting ranges and other gyms and let people try it out? Leave a couple bottles because organically you can grow too as well.
Absolutely.
Last one for me. Just want to throw this at you. I listened to the patent thing, and we had a patent attorney come in and really give us a good licking. And one of the things you guys will likely qualify for is the micro entity status. A lot of patent attorneys will not tell you about that. It is a benefit to you to look into it. The AIA, which was the American Inventors Act, basically made it a lot more affordable, reduced the fees that you pay the United States Patent Office, since you are a small company.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
check that out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
There's their email.
I have one
Send them
more
the link.
question for you guys. I'd like to know how can 1 Million Cups and Startup.SC, the Grand Strand Technology Council, how can we help you?
Exposure? Would probably be the main
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
Giving us the opportunity to speak about our product, getting us out there to the public, getting us in front of consumers, consumers of people, just kind of spreading the word about our new product before it launches.
Give me a bottle, I'll take it to gold.
Her friend owns gold. So.
Oh, there
Got
you go.
Nancy?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
Hi everyone, I'm Ray Antonino. I am the co-founder of FieldVine. FieldVine is a task management tool that helps contractors and property managers to communicate more efficiently with people in the field, track the status of projects, stay compliant with state and local code enforcement, and ultimately grow their business through process efficiency. We've all seen this, people standing around, and we get a little chuckle out of it, and I used to. But I'll tell you that when I became a business owner owning a construction company, I no longer laugh. These people cost between $200 and $400 a day. Not getting information from the field into the hands of decision makers costs thousands every day. Not knowing whether a permit is needed or the inspections required yields hefty fines, rework, and lost opportunity. Now you say, how is it possible that a construction company that works in their area every day wouldn't know where they are and what they're supposed to be doing? Well, let me show you. So just today I pulled this up. 815 East Bay Street, or Bay Street in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. By all intents and purposes, they're located in the city of Myrtle Beach, the area in green. As you can see, in the cities, there's pockets here. These pockets are actually managed by different municipalities. And so we're going to zoom in on that little red dot, 815 Bay Street. 1815 Bay Street actually has different municipality. You'd have to go to Conway to pull your permit. Yet the neighbor at 813 is the city of Myrtle Beach. So if you can imagine those challenges, anywhere in those green areas for contractors, they're real. I've witnessed these issues at every level, whether it was communication, compliance, whether you're new home construction or owning my own construction business. The problems are real. In 2009, my wife and I formed a small construction company. By 2012, we had grown our business to covering over 3 states. And as you can imagine, those communication and challenging issues, challenges with knowing whether or not a permit was needed, or even for that matter, what inspections were needed, was a real challenge. In 2012, we actually go on vacation. We think we're on vacation. We find ourselves tethered to the hotel business center. I actually asked the staff to take a picture of us here. Crazy when we look back. But it was this that changed everything for us, because we said we were going to find a way to make this happen and not never be in this position again. At the time, there wasn't a lot of solutions that were out there, and the ones that were enterprise-based, and they just weren't for us. So we did what any entrepreneur in this room would do. We built it. We built FieldVine to meet the needs of every user, whether you're the person in the field or you're the person in the office. We used a case study of Titus Titan Corporation. Titus Titan used FieldVine for 2 years. They saw a 79% increase in revenues, over 31 extra jobs per year, their capacity increased, and $164,000 in additional revenue without ever having to hire one additional person. And this happened because of FieldVine, increasing process efficiency and improvement. We currently have 65 users, over 32,000 communications between those users, and manage over 1,500 projects within FieldVine. Cecil here, he says he loves FieldVine just for scheduling. He thinks it's the world's greatest thing for him. But Lou from Lowe's, the guy who shows up at your door when you're interested in windows, siding, decking, he says, I love FieldVine because I'm able to know whether or not this customer is going to need a permit and the inspections that will be necessary. So he's a far more informed salesperson when he shows up. And then you have Christy, who manages over 800 homes here at the old Air Force Base. She loves it because she can just get away from her desk. And my wife and I know exactly what that means. The market size is 2.5 million small and mid-sized service companies. These are construction companies. They employ over 17 million people. And the crazy number is 85% of this market does not use technology for managing their business. And we see a real opportunity. We intend to go after 5% of this marketplace. And in doing so, it will yield a $19 million a month in recurring revenue. Forbes says that 5 of the top 10 fastest growing small businesses are construction related, and outliers are growing at a rate of double. As I said, when we had our challenges with knowing where we were and growing our business in all these areas, these municipalities, there wasn't a lot that was out there. And the things that were very big, enterprise, expensive, weren't mobile friendly at the time, and had absolutely no compliance. Fast forward to today, and you do have a lot of companies out there. Kickserve and Jobber are doing a great job. But FieldVine is the future. FieldVine takes the best of the technologies today and applies a compliance piece that allows a contractor from the second they enter the job to know whether or not a permit is needed, what municipality they're working in, and all of the inspections required. There are 33,154 municipalities in this country, and with FieldVine, you know where you are. Additionally, because the address was so important within FieldVine, getting that right, we were able to create the first ever, most important, the home history report that was more accurate than anything because you knew exactly where the work was actually done. And then ultimately within FieldVine, we built the technology for converting users into actually paying customers. The pricing model is simple. It's $99 a month for the first 3. It's $15 a month thereafter. A company of 7 will be paying $159 a month. I don't know why I keep jumping. Ready, set, go. So I would go into this a little longer, but in the interest of time, we have a strategic marketing plan. We also have a tactical plan, and as well as the technology that's built within FieldVine for ensuring growth and reaching that market potential. Ultimately, to reach that $19 million a month in recurring revenue requires 105,000 of the 2.1 million available contractors. I've got a fantastic team. Right here, I've got Mark Lewis, who's worked for NASA for 3 years. I've got myself, that's been a project manager. I've been a contractor for 10 years, and been an entrepreneur nearly my whole life. I've got Rebecca, who's been 15 years as a property manager. She's worked with C-level executives to make important decisions. Daniel, that actually makes the app work, function, and look pretty. And then ultimately Adam here, who's behind the scenes and makes everything work as it should. And Adam comes from a $185 million startup. I've got a fantastic team, and we've got the people to make this a reality. FieldVine is the future of construction management and task management solutions. And we're here today to ask of you that if you know of a contractor in your area or a property management company who would like to benefit, please share our information. Thank you. Yeah, it's still hard, man. I still get the little cotton on. Trying. Okay. Any questions? Yes, sir.
So how are you keeping, updated on all the different permits and things like that? Because, it's a moving target. So how do you...
Yeah, so great question. So what we've decided what we're going to do is we've gone ahead and built out 33,154 municipalities from the perspective of the actual contact information. So within the new FieldVine, we just recently SaaS'd our product from the legacy version, which was what we run our own construction company on, to a new one. And now what happens is that when a job is put in, it will populate the contact information of all that's relevant. And at the point that a contractor who knows that they need a permit, because the key is knowing the municipality. If you know the municipality and you work in the area, you know where I've got to pull a permit. The example I gave of 815 Bay, somebody that would be there would be like, it says Horry County, so I know I have to go to Horry. They might scratch their head, but at least it points them in the right direction. Understanding your point that to build out 33,154 of these municipalities and to keep that information accurate was very difficult for us to consider. So we found the solution. By giving you the information and telling you from the moment you enter that job what municipality you're in and the contact information and all the relevant links, we created a tool where that tool then gives the information back to us. And here's how it works. You know whether or not you need a permit. That's pretty common. You just need to know what municipality you're in. The second you upload your permit into the new FieldVine, you're presented with the opportunity to select the inspections you know you will need. Contractors actually know what they need typically in their local market. By doing so, you're actually reversing that and giving us the information on the permit side. And over time, through data science and the collection of data, we know that that's an accurate thing because you've selected within FieldVine, I'm doing windows and siding, and you've said these are the inspections I need. We already know what municipality that job's assigned to. So effectively, we allow our users to create that database and then get that information curated. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
One familiar with BuilderTrend.
Yep.
I can use it. So is yours similar to that with the addition of this permit?
Well, BuilderTrend operates, if you're familiar, you pay for per job, per project.
Correct.
So it's different in pricing. So right off the bat, you pay a per job price, whereas this allows a contractor to actually grow their business without having to keep paying per project. So that's number one differentiator. Number two, the compliance piece, none have it. So where we're different is those that are competition to us now actually become customers because the data set that we have, there's none out there. We're it. So there's no sense for them to go and reinvent the wheel. So it helps us to be more defensible.
Do you have the same functionality?
Overall, yeah, there are areas within our milestones that need to be reached for the very best of today's technology, which would be an example of signing that your job's complete in the field, which you have that ability to do with BuilderTrend, and also invoicing. Those two things are on our roadmap. Of course, we've found that with contractors, the two key things for small and mid-sized contractors is scheduling and then invoicing. And we have scheduling perfected. And the fact that we have compliance, that's where we're going initially, but we ultimately know we need to get to invoicing as well. Did I answer your question? Very good. Yes, sir.
Who's responsible for the cities? I assume have to keep those maps up to date, right? That's their responsibility as far as the zones and whatnot.
So the boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay. So an example, I think what you're saying is, let's say that tomorrow morning, Myrtle Beach acquired the piece of land that 815 currently sits on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's two sources of where they come from. One I won't tell you, and one I will. The U.S. Census Bureau is one of them. The other is our baby, and it helps us to keep defensible. But there is a source that from the moment an address actually changes, we actually have a source that from the moment the address becomes a postal address, we actually know exactly what municipality it's located in.
Mm-hmm.
We pay for that data. Now one would say, well then why wouldn't another company go duplicate it? Because the challenge is that they still don't have all of the contact information and all of the relevant URLs for that municipality. That still separates us.
I guess I'm kind of asking because I'm wondering if that's something they're used to. Have you ever explored like communicating with some of these municipalities, creating
Sure
like a free tool for them to be able to keep the permits up to date?
Great question. Thank you for teeing me up. I don't even know you, but I love it. So we actually met with two different municipalities, and both have expressed interest. In fact, one of them, we were supposed to meet for only an hour, and they kept us for 3. It's Fort Walton Beach out of Florida. In fact, they've already approved us to be, they're going to actually put our website, permit.zone, which is where this permitting information is curated, on their site. But they want to put the information in and have that update, that tool available to them so that they can always keep it bottom. They see value for them. So we have met with them and we've learned some things from them as well. So while we have a FieldVine, which is, is a wonderful product for contractors to know, we also have a tool that gathers and aggregates that data, that information, that can be made available to municipalities as well. Mm-hmm. And what we've learned from just 2 municipalities is that saves them typically 3 days in process time for a permit.
Yeah.
And I had no clue of this. Like they really floored us. Some of the things that we learned from that 3 hours, we recorded the entire thing, which is something I would encourage anyone in here to do, because there's a lot of information you'll take away that you'll not picked up. But ultimately, they actually told us exactly what was necessary to charge them a fee every year, a licensing fee. So I thought, wow, you mean not only will they take our tool and use it and promote it because they have enough value in it, but they actually said, hey, if you would just allow one more pane, and that's the pane of applications not being filled out entirely. So if you would allow them to come through permit zone, because they're going to come to us, we're going to redirect them. They come through permit dot zone, and they actually go, oh, here I can fill out my permit application. If we allow that feature to be done through our site, and it would not submit the application without all the relevant information being filled out, the municipality is willing to pay for that. So that's what we've learned. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally.
Very good. Yes, sir.
Ray, where you have a municipality that is putting in the data,
Yes, sir.
do you have some sort of a designation or, kind of like a Twitter blue check that says, this is official data as opposed to...
I love it. So it would just be a matter of me going in, and I don't even know code, but I could change HTML. What we did initially in the build of permit zone, the information, the data set, and we did separate the two intentionally because we realized we have one product, but we have two really key things. And so what we did is within the permit gathering side, I was paying stay-at-home moms to gather data, okay, before we realized there was other methods to do it. And I encourage you to research because there's plenty of ways to do it for a lot more cost-effective. But there was a checkbox that if not checked off by me, it would not populate by somebody performing a search. So right now, inside of that, it would just be a matter of making that available on the other side of it, on the front end, that said, this has been certified by this municipality of. It's pretty easy to do. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, have you approached these municipalities to join FieldVine so that they would have more efficient work?
Yeah, so in that same conversation that I was sharing just here, another point of it was brought up that, hey, this would be great for us to really advise our contractors to use FieldVine, because not only could they actually manage their projects, but ultimately they could submit their permits through FieldVine, which is essentially the permit side of our application. So that's in its exploratory right now. In January, we will be down in Fort Walton Beach meeting with them, going through all the details and making sure we have it right. Initially, this will be just placed on their site as a redirect to us, and all their information will be in it. The beautiful thing about that, I didn't share this, was that we were only supposed to meet with one person, 3 came. One of the people kept quiet the whole time. And he ended up being the one that really was the interesting party. He sits on the state board for Florida for the permitting. I didn't know they even had a board for this, but they do. And he instantly said, if this is effective here, I have 3 other municipalities we would put this in immediately. And so that's where we are. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would consider maybe at a tremendous discount or maybe even free, give this away to some of the cities if in turn for that they're going to build or allow you to have a connector by which contractors can just electronically submit permits, I mean, if I'm a builder or whatnot, I would think that it would be incredibly like a no-brainer if I could just type in only the work that I'm doing, where I'm doing it, and all my information's populated and it sends in. I mean,
yeah, so from the free standpoint, I've learned something in the last 3 months. Nothing's free. But there is a benefit to offering an entry point for a municipality that may not be ready for a broader suite of things. In that if they would take that opportunity to have the permit information redirected through us, but they curate that information for us. So by doing us the favor of curating that information, we know it's accurate, and us doing them the favor, the caveat would be that they would have to allow us to be able to charge for the permit submittal through our site. In other words, not worth it to do it for free. But we do have that as an idea. It's a lot of exploring that whole thing. That actually came about a month before we just got out of a program we were in, and I'll tell you that became the most exciting part in recent for the permitting side.
It seems like it saves both sides a ton of time.
It does. Yep. Yes, sir.
I've got a question about the ability for people that are out in the field to embrace the new technology and then the training that goes along to get them up to speed to be able to use this. Could you talk a little bit about that?
God, love it. Great question. So I will tell you, right, I'll be the first to tell you that there's probably a big reason why 85% don't use technology. They're fearful of committing to new technology, or just flat out overwhelmed in their own inefficiencies. Those are the two biggest things. I know it because I live it. I work with these guys. A learning curve. So what was critical for us, and some of the things we learned, was basically you have to have a design where it's easy, right? It has to be, I have to just intuitively know that if I just do this, that I'll get this. Not have to do 3 different things or try to look for how to add a job under 3 different buttons. So we really went through and redesigned our whole site. So the new FieldVine is remarkable. It's an entirely different site. So that's number 1 toward helping that process. It doesn't guarantee anything. To get them to adopt has always been a challenge. So what we've done is we really focused our energy, and this is why I've said property management so many times through this presentation. See, property managers actually have a pain, and we've met with many of them now. And so through learning through their pains and what they're willing to pay for, we've learned that they're willing to pay for FieldVine to actually manage their projects and construction that they dole out to their subcontractors. Those subcontractors would come on with a free, only working with them as a member of that job. So if I'm a contractor and I want to do $2,000–$3,000 worth of work with property management A, I've got to use FieldVine. And the people that are going to help to teach them the basics are going to be the property management company. You need to do this, click here, do that, do this, and we'll get what you need, and then you'll get a check when you're done doing it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great question. Yes, sir.
I have a few questions.
So what?
FieldVine.
Yes, sir.
Is that a marketing name or is that an entity?
Well, it's actually being trademarked as we speak. There was a field space vine that was a I don't know, winery or something. It went defunct in '09. So the good news is they're not going to have any issues with the trademark. But it is an entity that is being formed as of right now. Matt Hyde is an attorney that works for a lot of startups out of Boulder, Colorado, and he's doing our formation as we speak. It'll be a Delaware C Corp. We're actually going to push it to January 1st. You can't guarantee the date of it, but it's going to be after January. And purposefully so that we don't have to start to file taxes for the year and so forth.
You're an information provider, would you say?
I would say that that's one aspect of what we do, yes, sir.
Okay. How do you hold yourself harmless with regards to you giving information that is not really pertinent to what that person is asking for? How does your company handle that?
Great question. And that was one I had a very difficult time with. I'm going to refer back to my answer to Steve if I wasn't clear on that. Basically, we've taken ourselves out of what you need as an inspection. That's where it got hairy, right? That's where if you came to us as a resource, information that I know for certain that this is where I go, we took ourselves out of it from that equation from within FieldVine. Okay, FieldVine, you as the contractor know where you are the second you put the job in. It tells you the municipality you're under. That's indisputable. We have no worries with that. There's no liabilities there. The stuff is accurate. The contact information, to the extent of our liability, is that we give you the wrong phone number and the wrong URL address, or that it has gone down and we didn't know it. That's our extent of our liability. Because you, as the contractor, have entered your permit and at that point selected the actual inspections you needed. So the liability, the onus is on you. Then you get to use the tool that manages that permitting process with your people in the field. However, the actual, from our perspective, we're not, okay, we got a number wrong. Let us know. We'll update it. But we're not telling you that you didn't need a flashing inspection for your windows, and you went ahead and put all your siding back on and your stucco over the weekend, and came to find out on Monday you needed to have flashing inspection. We're not going to put ourselves there in that liability. Unless the municipality has checked off that's their requirement. At which point that completely removes us, and that information will then field through to FieldVine. But that won't be what we're selling.
On that same question, how do you now turn around to the information that you are getting from the municipality or any other entity that has this information? How do you get, and how often will you update your data from them?
Say that one more time.
Your data is only as good as what they give you. Is that correct?
Well, they're going to have the tool. So there's going to be there's 2 steps to this information, right? There's general gathering. We know the municipality. We have all those borders and outlines and maps and so forth. Now it's us attaching information to it, contact information, URLs that are relevant, so that people can get to the different places that matter in that municipality, right? That's number one. That's on our end. It's on the municipality's end that if they're given the tool and they want to use that tool for updating their information, that information is correct. It's not on us. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yep. Pretty simple. I mean, we're basically, if you can think of it like this, right now, let's talk about the pain, right? To know whether or not you need a permit and where the heck you're even at as a contractor. So I have to type in an address in Google. I have to somehow figure out whether or not it's the county or the city. And that's not easy. It's not terribly easy to do. But once I know what municipality I'm in, then I'm going to Google the municipality's name. So I might do something like City of Myrtle Beach Building Department, and then see what pops up. And you'd be surprised. You'd think that that's easy enough. But believe it or not, then to try to find the permit filing fees link. Sometimes it's a PDF. Sometimes you have to call them for a fax. Sometimes it's right there. But that information is what makes us defensible. And that's the information that we will keep up to date to the extent of that. As far as the inspections that are required, the onus is on the contractors that would use FieldVine, and ultimately they will be providing us back that information. And then over time, if we see patterns, then we may be able to use that information to go to municipalities with and say, we've seen 11,000 people in the course of this last year in Myrtle Beach who have used permit.zone to access and get this information. We'd like you to enter your information. Here's the tool, and let's consider doing business. I think the key is starting with one municipality. Fort Walton Beach has already stepped up and said they will. There's not a question of maybe, it's a yes. So I say that on camera. We're doing it. So it starts with one, and then we go from there.
All right, we have 1 more minute left for questions. If anybody has a last minute question.
This 20-minute stuff is real. This is really good, guys. I'm very thankful for this. Yes?
You talked about the permit information portion of it. You talked a little bit about scheduling. Are there other benefits to a contractor to using FieldVine?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the communication piece, which tends to get left out because of so much in the permitting. People are fascinated by, wow, that's something different, big pain. But communication is key, right? Communication and compliance are critical to contractors. Not getting information from those people that are standing around a hole, not knowing what to do, costs money. So being able to get it, the information, take a picture, upload it. It gets established to that actual project, right? The person who might be the boss that makes the decision, or maybe it's the supplier making the decision on whether or not they're going to warranty a crack in a pipe or something, gets handled in real time and far more efficiently. That's unfortunately with the permit side here, so much weight on seeing that, but the communication side is critical. And where a lot of the actual companies that have gone mobile, while there is communication aspect, the focus isn't so much on the people in the field as it is within FieldVine. We really had to build a product that people who use hammers, saws, and tools like that would actually pull out their phone and find it meaningful to even use. Without them, the rest is for shit. You know what I mean? That's it.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Yep. Thank you.
Great. Thank you to both of our presenters today. I just want to thank all of you for coming out and taking time to share your day with us.